Who's ready for some competition style ribs? Because when they break apart that gentle and easy, you know we done it right. Let's get started. Now that we've got all the fat off the ribs that we want to take off of them, I'm going to get one of my gloves off where I've got a clean hand, and I'm going to use a little bit of mustard today. Now this is completely up to you if you want to use any binders or anything like that. Now would be the time to do it. You can use water, you can use mustard, you can use olive oil, avocado oil, anything you prefer. We just got a little bit of superstition here in Memphis when it comes to competition style ribs. We do use a little mustard. Now, y'all know I'm going with my #1 garlic jalapeno as a base layer. I personally don't think there's another AP rub out there that's as good as this one when it comes to winning money. And you know what? Many people can't tell me a difference. Once you get a good base layer down, you come back and do the same thing on this side after I put some mustard. You get a good heavy dose of that. And then we're coming back with this competition rub. Now this is the rub that done it all for me in 2022, and it put me less than fractions of a point away from being in the top again at Memphis in May. I was 9th place last year and less than a quarter point away from a perfect score. So I'm gonna go back with the same combination that I've been using, this comp rub and garlic jalapeno, and see how well it treats me at Memphis. Let's check our gateway drum. We've got it fired up with some lump Royal Oak charcoal and some tumbleweeds. I think we've got it stabilized in. That needle standing straight up at 300 degrees. All right, as you can see, our gateway drum is fired up. We've got it stabilized at 300 degrees. I'm gonna get my top off, grab these ribs and throw them on. You know with a drum, you can't leave the lid off long or that temp will really spike. And so where we got it at 300 here, we wanna make sure on the ribs. I'm gonna go ahead and grab one, just to be 100% sure. All right, y'all, they are in this drum. I'm gonna get this glove off. I'm gonna get my lid on, let this Royal Oak charcoal do its job. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. I'm gonna get in here and see what my ribs look like. Oh yeah, look at that. It's starting to look good. Now, we'll look at the back side here. This side's kind of over the coals. I'm just gonna kind of twist them and let them go another 20 minutes, just like that. Be back in about 20. All right, it's been another 20 minutes, so we've had a total cook time of about 40 minutes. You get in here and see these ribs, look at the moisture on top of them there. Look at that. Now I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna turn that rib over. I wanna get a little sizzle action on that side. I'm gonna get this grill lid shut. And I'm gonna come back in about 15 or 20 minutes again, see where they're at, and probably spin them where one will be over the fire, one will not then. They'll get the same even cook time, and then I'll flip them back over, and it won't be far from wrapping these puppies up. They'll be on an hour. All right, it's been another 15, 20 minutes. Woo! A little turn and burn action. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that sizzle right there. Sizzling that fat away. Now I'm gonna get this turned around. Get this old big boy over here over this fire. Now, I'm gonna go about 15 or 20 minutes with that rib over the fire where they can both cook even, and I'm gonna get my wrap ready and we're gonna get ready to wrap some ribs. All right, now that our ribs are ready to wrap, I've got my butter bath here. I'm gonna go ahead and get it tore open. Now, I'm gonna take and put 16 ounces of water in my shaker here because I'm wrapping 2 slabs of ribs. I'm gonna get well, it'd be a half a cup, 2 quarter cups of butter bath in. It's a quarter cup per slab. It's just that simple. You put it in here just like that. Make sure that top is closed all the way. And then just shake it up. When you get it all mixed up, just grab these ribs. You can see I've got a tray right? Just an empty tray with the foil sitting in it. That way the butter bath don't run out. You can wrap them up just perfect. Makes it simple, Makes it very easy. So, there's our butter bath, all shook up. All right, you can see our gateway drum is holding temp at 300 degrees. Let's get this cover off, let our smoke clear. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that sizzle on that rib. So I'm just gonna lay these in our pan, and I'm gonna get this grill lid shut. I don't want our fire to get away from us here. And I'm gonna get over here and wrap these ribs up. Let's go. All right, as you can see, that rib right there, it's got good color on both sides. The bones are starting to pull back. I'm gonna go face down here, and I'm gonna pull some of this, kind of the edge of these rib bones off, how it pushes the blood out of them, the collagens, that kind of stuff. In a pure competition, sometimes I would take a knife and scrape that off to keep the ends of my bones really clean. And that's just sometimes the little minor details that it takes to win a world championship. So now I'm gonna go about half of this on this rib here. Get it all butter bathed up. I've got my foil in a double layer here. I'm gonna scoot that rib right in the middle here. I'm gonna go over that rib like that. Back over like this, and I twist that foil over, and I'm gonna fold it just so we can get in that rib good and easy. Now, there's one slab ready to go back on the cooker. Let's get this other slab wrapped up, get them back on our gateway drum. We're gonna have some good eating on our hands. Now that we've got our ribs wrapped back up, get them in our pan here, let's get them back over to the drum. Now, I'm gonna get this grill lid shut. I'm gonna go 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna spin these ribs. We'll be right back. All right, it's been 20 minutes. Let's get in here and spin these ribs around. I'm gonna give it another 20 and I'll be back. All right, our ribs on our gateway drum are almost finished. They've been on right at an hour. I hadn't checked them yet though. I know they should be getting close. I'm gonna take some of my sweet barbecue sauce here. I don't know, maybe about a third of a cup. Well, it's probably about a half a cup, honestly. Probably about a half a cup of this competition barbecue sauce. And then I'm gonna go a half a cup of my apple habanero glaze. And I love this glaze right here. All equal parts, basically. Now, I'm just gonna kind of mix this sauces up just a little bit with that glaze. The reason I stick that glaze in there, it gives that rib a nice shine on the end. Now I'm gonna get this sauce, once I pull my ribs off to let them rest, I'm gonna take this sauce and kind of stick it on that drum and let it warm up. And while those ribs are resting, the sauce will get warm, and then we'll paint it on good and get them back on that drum and tack up. Oh, that's good right there. Our drum has backed down. We're running about 290 degrees right now, right off of 300. I'm not gonna try to bump the air up because these ribs are finishing up. So I'm gonna get in here, and I'm not even gonna take those ribs and lay that up here, kind of like that. I'm gonna get that slab of ribs off right there. Kind of set that there, and I'm gonna take this pouch, woo, set it up here. I'm gonna move this off of this grill, get it shut, then check them. Oh yeah, look at that. The bones are starting to pull through here, and it's a good telltale sign when you get your big bones kind of popping through on the big end. You can just about bet the rest of them is gonna be tender. So I always take and do what we call a push-pull test. So if I was taking 2 fingers, I'm gonna hold one bone down and try to pull the next one up. And you see how it's wanting to break through this skin right here, right? If that's wanting to break away like it's doing, that means that rib is done. It's done. See this right here, how it's wanting to break apart? That rib's done. I'm gonna take and cover it back up, and it's time to let this rib rest. And if that big one's done, I'm just about to say this one's gonna be done as well. Yep. You see how those bones kind of pop through right here? Now remember, push, pull. I do it with one hand during competition. I'm gonna take these 2 right here, and if you take one and you see it start to pop through like that, you see that bone? When it does that right there, that is a telltale sign that rib is where it needs to be as far as tenderness, right? Now you think that rib's gonna be overdone. Nah, not today. That's a perfect rib right there. Now, we gotta get them rested. You can either A, put them in a cooler and let them rest and steam a little bit, or B, just let them sit out here on the counter about a good 20 minutes, and they're gonna be ready to eat. So we're gonna take our sauce now, stick it on our gateway drum to warm up. About the time the sauce gets warm, these ribs are gonna be ready to be glazed. All right, now that our ribs have cooled about 20 minutes here, I'm gonna take and get them out of the pack here, and I bet they're still gonna be good and warm. And boy, are they. Ooh, they smell incredible though. That gateway drum, I tell y'all, that fat dripping on the fire, it's an incredible flavor. Oh yeah, that rib there's tender. Now I'm gonna get the back side of these ribs painted up and get them turned over. Oh yeah, would you look at that. Pretty color coming right out of that butter bath. Perfect amount of sauce. Now, there's only one thing left to do. I'm gonna take a little bit of this competition rub here and I'm gonna dust over the top. It's gonna come back with a little bit of flavor pop on that. Gonna put just a little bit more red color on those ribs. Now, we like to call that muddy style here in Memphis. You know, everybody talks about wet ribs, dry ribs. Everybody likes them muddy. I have not found one person that didn't. So let's get them back on the pit. Let's let them tack up. I know they're gonna be good. All right, here we go. Now, I'm gonna get my drum lid back on. Let those ribs go for about 15 minutes. They should be tacked up and perfect. All right, it's been about 10 to 15 minutes here. Let's get in here and look at the, oh yeah, look at that. You see how it was kind of muddy and now it's all kind of tacked up? What we're doing there, look at that. We know that rib is where it needs to be. I'm gonna get in here and get this rack off of here. Whoa! And I'm here to tell y'all, that is hot. I have on heat gloves underneath there and it's still hot. I guess I should have got my big gloves out because these rubber gloves and cotton gloves just don't cut it sometimes on these drums. All right, as you can see, our ribs are off of our gateway drum cooker. So just to recap, I took 2 slabs of Prairie Fresh Prime baby back ribs, skinned the back of them, pulled that membrane off, trimmed a little bit of hard fat off that I knew the rub wouldn't penetrate the meat or anything like that. I then rubbed them down with mustard, a little bit of garlic jalapeno rub, and some competition rub. I got them on my gateway drum, started rotating them every 20 minutes. I eventually flipped them over and rotated them as well. I wrapped them up after about an hour and a half. They had a total wrap time of close to an hour and a half. So we had a total cook time of almost 3 hours, and then we let it set on the counter, kind of cool off. We made our sauce up with our brand new apple glaze here that I'm gonna be cooking with at Memphis in May for sure. And then let them set on that drum, let them tack up, and we've got a beautiful rib here. I almost made them stick to this rack here. But I can take that rib right here, let me spin it around. I can pick that rib up and I can do that rib wave, what I'm always talking about. But I'm gonna tell you, if I'm not too careful, they will break right apart just like that, just easy as you please. And that's why I like seeing a rib like this. I mean, these competition style ribs are not hard to make at home, but I can tell you, they are a crowd pleaser. And I can't pick these bones up today, but I can tell you, laying over my hand here, you see how that's wanting to break? I believe if I picked that one up, it would fall apart totally, so I'm gonna tear it. Look at that. Bone's still intact, but these ribs are cooked, I mean, perfect for me, perfect. That right there is just how I want to give it to that barbecue judge. Tear that bone off like that and lay it on their plate. And I can tell you, when they do that and they finally get a good bite of it like what I'm about to do, their eyes is going to roll back in the back of their head for sure. Y'all, that rib is so juicy, so tender. It does not get much better than that. Wow. If you like what we're doing on our channel, be sure to like, subscribe, follow along. You can find us with all your friends on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, and of course YouTube. I'll see you next week with another video.